want some sauce?
Scene 1, Apple, take 1.
So right now, let's turn the fire on and let's put this on low for now to get it started. I'm going to be putting some sugar inside here. The amount of sugar that you put in is really up to you. That right there is about a half a cup. Let's have a little bit left in here. Generally what I recommend is for you to start with 1/3 of a cup, a half a cup. After it has reached temperature, then go ahead and just taste it and see if it's sweet enough. And if it is, fantastic. And if it isn't, add some more sugar. We need to add our green tea to this. And I'm just going to end up using some loose leaf green tea. We need to have enough in here to flavor it. So I'm going to put 1/4 of a cup in there. Actually, you know something? Let's make this a little bit stronger. We'll just put a little bit more than 1/4 of a cup. And that is 2 cups of heavy cream. Maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon of kosher salt. If you're going to use regular salt, use a little bit less. Maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla extract. You don't have to put that in. I'm putting that in. If you want to, you could put lemon extract in that too, and then that would be nice because lemon with green tea tastes good together, doesn't it? So let's go ahead and put a little bit, not a lot, 1/4 of a teaspoon of lemon. Right here I have 4 egg yolks. Okay, I've separated these from the egg whites. There you go, guys, ice cream. Bon appetit. You can go ahead and serve it like this, or you can actually, no, I'm just messing around, guys. What we want to do now is we want to mix this up real well before it comes to temperature, because we don't want these eggs to turn into scrambled eggs. We want them to be incorporated into the cream. And now what we're going to do is we're going to turn the temperature of this up just a little bit. And we want this to come to temperature. In other words, we want this to basically just start to thicken up a little bit. Not quite a boil, it's going to be close to a simmer. We don't want it to come to a boil because A, that cream is going to start separating, it might even curdle. That's bad news. But one of the main things, one of the most important things, is that green tea inside there. Green tea will start imparting a very bitter taste after about 160 degrees. Okay, so when you're making green tea, you want to make sure you don't use water that's past about 160, maybe 165, something like that. If you use boiling water, it's going to always taste bitter, or I should say more bitter than it actually is. When this comes to temperature, if you taste it, and if it tastes it's a little too sweet, you can always just end up adding more cream. Depending on how old your tea is, it might not have a lot of tea flavor to it, so you might have to add more tea. But once again, after this comes to temperature and it extracts some of the flavors out of these tea leaves, we can go ahead and give it a taste and see if we need to add more green tea to this. And don't worry about all these things because we're going to run it through a strainer. I'm going to be adding just a little something else to this, and that is just a little bit of crushed ginger. Okay, just a little bit. And just to add a little bit more sweetness and a little bit more of that tea flavor, I'm going to be adding maybe a couple of tablespoons of honey. This is getting close to the proper temperature, so I'm going to take a taste of it, trying to do it without getting a bunch of leaves in here. Easier said than done. So at this point we want to strain it. We're doing this to take any scrambled eggs out of there, as well as taking out any of the tea leaves, because it would be like eating lawn clippings, right? When you're making ice cream, you definitely don't want to try to fill the ice cream maker up, because it incorporates air into it and it'll just be too much, it'll overflow. Now if you want this to be greener, you can always end up adding food coloring to it. Now I've only put enough inside there to maybe make a pint and a half. Enough for maybe 1 person, 2 people, something along those lines. This is going to take about an hour, hour and a half. Okay, so our ice cream is done. We're going to have to pull this out of here. And we need to, this right now at this point would be considered soft serve. And depending on your ice cream maker, that's what you're going to end up dealing with. But what we need to do is take this, transfer it to a different container, and put it in the refrigerator. Sorry, the freezer. Don't put this in the refrigerator. Now I got to get this inside the freezer before it turns into a hard mess. Okay, so it's a little soft serve, guys, because I haven't let it set up, but
oh my god, that is good. Wow, that is green tea. You can definitely taste it.
But do you also taste how there's something else inside there that makes it taste like more like tea?
Yeah, I was gonna say, wow, that is really, you can really taste the tea. This one I'll remember.
It tastes just like tea.
Yes, that's why I'll remember this one, because it's like, oh wow, I've had many green teas and it's, you can barely taste
yeah. Well, green tea's weak. The flavor's weak.
I can taste other flavors though.
I think the ginger and the honey and the lemon are a good addition.
Yeah.
Because even though it's sweet, there's that little acidity at the end where it's almost like you really are drinking tea.
No, that's what I was gonna say. It tastes just like
you're drinking
tea. Yeah.
Anyway, guys, I know right now you're not seeing ice cream. You're seeing some of my corned beef hash. But thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this, make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and also check out my other videos and recipes on drchillskitchen.com. I'll put a link in the description. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.